Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to another episode of New Music Finds. So this is where I collect together all the different things that I've purchased over the past week. I've got 4 box sets and 10 CDs to run through with you. As part of it, I get it from Amazon, eBay, different online retails like that. I go to my local record stores. It's a little bit of everywhere, but this is all the cool stuff that I found in the past week. I'm going to present it to you here in just a bit, but before we get started, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. Also leave a comment, hit like. All those things help support my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. But of course, by turning on notifications, you're going to stay up to date on really cool episodes like this where I run through all the cool stuff that I got. Maybe sparking your interest into picking up some of this stuff as well or searching it out. That's my favorite thing, hunting down new music. You guys probably feel the same. I mean, look at my collection behind me, over 12,000 CDs, over 350 box sets, and it's just going up, right? Okay, so first thing I picked up, I like to start with new releases, was the brand new Rick Springfield, and I've got to go down on this. I'm not happy with this at all. I've tried. They promoted it as a throwback to the 80s, like the album Tao, pronounced with a D. Yes, it is T-A-O, but the Chinese pronunciation has it sounding like a D. So they said it would be a throwback to that, and that is a very 80s sounding album, but this here sounds very modern to me. I'm not saying it's a bad album, but I was expecting the 80s sound. So all in all, I'm not very happy with this. I will probably grow to like it a lot later on, but my initial reaction where I was expecting the 80s throwback album, it's his 20th album, it's got 20 tracks, it was supposed to celebrate that sound from the 80s, and it's just very pop, but it's very modern pop. Okay, this next one totally grabbed me though. Nuclear Power Trio, Wet Ass Plutonium, WAP, from the famous song, I think it was Nicki Minaj, I could be wrong. It did one, also WAP, not gonna say it on here. I like to keep it family friendly when I can, at least when Anthony from Sound Exchange is not around, right? You guys know he loves to drop all the F-bombs, and of course he makes me do it too. But this album here, imagine if Danger Danger and Dream Theater met up and formed a new group. To me, that's what this is. It's got the 80s throwback sound with the keyboards, very heavy keyboard-laden sound like Danger Danger does on their first album. But it's the very technical and progressive like Dream Theater. It's all instrumental. It's on Metal Blade Records. I absolutely fell in love with this. Check it out. I didn't know anything about the band. They wear masks. One of the guys wears one that looks like Trump. Another one looks like Putin. We've got another guy from North Korea in here. It's a trio, but it is so good. So definitely check that out. Highly recommend it. Okay. Some of the stuff I picked up at my local record store, one of them being an album that I do believe is out of print because I couldn't get it from Amazon at least. And this is something you guys kept recommending to me, so I decided to take a chance. I'm glad I did. Robin Trower, Bridge of Sighs. This is a 2017 remastered edition that comes with 8 bonus tracks, BBC sessions, 2 different John Peel sessions, one from 74 and 75. Before you guys were telling me about him, I didn't know that I knew anything. It turns out I knew the song Day of the Eagle, the first track that's on here. I have not yet recognized anything else, and I have to say, I love the heavier blues rock stuff, but that slower stuff on here I'm not as into. Doesn't mean it won't grow on me, but if I could get a whole album of just stuff that sounded like Day of the Eagle or Two Rolling Stone or stuff like that, I think I'd really, really dig him. So I'm going to look into other albums. Maybe he's got some more rock sounding ones later on, but I did start with that. All right, now if you've been watching these episodes over the last couple weeks, then you know that I've been digging deep into Santana related, picking up Greg Raleigh stuff, Abraxas Pool, side project of the guys from Santana minus Carlos. But it totally made me kick off and go out and buy all these Santana albums. So last week I showed you that I picked up Abraxas and the 4th album. I can't remember its name offhand because it's all new to me still. But I went back and picked up 3. And I have to say, initially I stayed away from it. The album cover didn't grab me. I don't know anything that's on it. So I just didn't pick it up. But This one's really good. I now think of the early era. I love the debut. I'm not as big a fan of Abraxas. I had not heard this yet. The fourth album didn't really do much for me, and I was kind of letting it go at that point, but I did dig back into it. But I will say this has turned out to be a fantastic album, start to finish. I'm loving it. I then picked up this one, Inner Secrets. This one here is a late 70s, 78 maybe? I'm sorry if I can't quite read the date on it. They're tiny. They're getting tiny. It just shows you my age, unfortunately. What I like about it is it's got a little bit of a disco flavor to it. So this one here totally intrigued me with that. Now, moving on to this one here, which I think is 79. There's no date on the back because it's the reissue edition of it, but Marathon. I love this one. This one's great. This one here just totally grabbed me, pulled me right in from the get-go on it. So I've been loving that. Here's one I steered clear of a bit because it didn't grab me when I first digitally checked it out. You guys kept suggesting it to me. So I went ahead and grabbed it as a used copy, Z-Bop, and I kind of got lucky because when I was at my favorite local record store, Sound Exchange, I was buying a bunch of other stuff, and they just threw this one in for free on the house. So I actually got it for free. Maybe that's why I like it so much, but I will say this. In a minute, I'm going to show you the one that I say I like the most, but this one here is now coming a close second behind it. Z-Bop, 1981, when I first talked about it, I said 85. I was wrong. I thought it was later in the 80s. It's actually not. But this one is great. All 12 tracks on this I'm loving. So because I liked Marathon, I picked up Shingo, if I'm saying that right. And I really like this one too. Fantastic album. Oh, it's not in this one. So I guess I had purchased this one last week. Beyond Appearances. That was the one that is so far my favorite. And I think Z-Bop is a close second behind it, followed by now the third album. So I know all different styles, right? But really digging Santana, getting deep in his stuff. I picked up Blues for Salvador, his solo album from '87. Not really grabbed by the album cover. I'm a very visual person. I saw this in the title having the word blues in it. I'm not the biggest blues fan, which is why I had steered clear of Robin Trower for so long. But it's not. It's just a title to it. There is bluesy elements, but it's still rock. And when I was in the store, somebody recommended it and said, hey, you really should give it a try. And so I popped on my headphones and listened to it. And I got to say, man, it was really good. I immediately went over and thanked that guy for having suggested it because it turned out to be a great album. And then one that I ordered off of eBay and had to wait a little bit to get it. This is called Spirits Dancing in Flesh. Just wanted to double check. On Columbia, 1990 release. This is one of those ones where, like, I remember the album cover. I didn't get into it or ever listen to it, but back in the day, I remember when this dropped. I got into buying music and really focusing on it, becoming a fan in '89. So from '89 on, I recognize a lot of album covers, even if I never listened to them. And then when I get into those bands, there's sort of a connection to that. And I go back to that first album or thing that I saw that I sort of wondered what it was. This is one of them. And I have to say, so far, not as into this album. Doesn't mean it won't grow on me. But right now, that is where I am with my Santana collection. Now, I've got 4 box sets here that I picked up. And last week you saw that I had picked up Easy Money from Frankie Miller. You guys immediately started suggesting other albums. And so I picked up this 5 CD box set. I had actually already had it by the time the video posted. It just hadn't arrived in time for me to do the last video. So it did arrive, and it's got these 5 albums as part of it. I have to say I'm still like the album Easy Money better than anything that's in here, but I am enjoying it. And then you did mention the 2 albums that come after Easy Money, of which they are so hard to find and they are so expensive out there right now. I do want to add them to my collection, but I haven't found them yet. If anyone out there has them and wants to give them up on CD, I'll be happy to take them off your hands, of course. You guys always looking to send me things, you know. You can always send me those rare albums I can't find. I'd love them. Okay, moving on to another box set that I picked up because I was kind of getting deep into Bruce Springsteen at the time, and I own all the studio albums, But I suddenly realized I didn't own this. The live box set that came out in 86, live 75 to 85, 3 discs. It's got a cool booklet in it. It just slides out like this. We get the booklet, and then we get one of these, you know, I don't know, thicker jewel cases kind of a thing. And this is the kind of live album that I like. It's recorded from different eras, different shows. It's got a lot of energy to it. It's got some tracks that are done, you know, acoustically or stripped down, and other ones that are heavily rocked up, but you can totally feel the energy. So I've been finding that of live albums, I like the big concert ones. I don't really like club shows. I don't want to hear individual people in the crowd shouting out. So that's kind of become my thing, and it's changing my tune about how I feel on live albums, where I can now say, well, there's certain ones I do like and other ones I'm just not a big fan of. But I have to say, this one here, popping it on, I immediately got excited. I could feel that energy. So this totally turned out to be a worthwhile addition. It sort of quelled that need for new Bruce Springsteen, of which I hear he's already got a brand new album recorded. It is continuing on that R&B soul style covers that he did for the last album, and it's going to drop sometime early 2024 when he does a tour, but that's already in the can. I hope he's got another original studio album ready to go, but I don't know. Haven't heard anything on that yet. I picked this up, and when I first mentioned this band, I inadvertently called them a German band and was corrected. They are Belgian. Killer. This is one of the 4 CD box sets. I was showing that I had this one here, and somebody said, all you need are the 2 Killer box sets. And I was like, what? There's a box set out there where I can get even earlier albums. And so this one is from 81, 82, 84, and 1990 are the 4 years of release for those. And it's just one of those clamshell ones like this. And it does have a really great booklet in here that clearly tells me they are Belgian. But, you know, all these classic albums that I love, that old 80s art style, and just good, you know, heavy power metal almost style. It's basically like if Motorhead was a power metal band. That's kind of how I describe Killer. They've got this sort of gruff vocals like Motorhead, but it's a bit more power metal, hard rock kind of style, so a nice cross between that, but one of the 4 CD ones. This was kind of buried. Like if you just go onto Amazon and type in Killer CD, this doesn't immediately come up, so you've got to look for it. If I had known that was out a long time ago, I'd have picked that up sooner. But that's just kind of carrying on from my previous listening experiences, which was very metal, very thrash and all of that sort of thing. And so I'm just continuing to add to that. And then I did an individual unboxing for this. You guys loved it. My Great White Hooked box set limited edition. It's a promo only. I'm not going to reopen it because it's very hard to get it in and out. And I don't know if this is actually supposed to be a shark tooth or just a sharpened piece of the bone from the shark, because shark teeth, I know what they look like. They're not really long and pointy like that. But either way, it's very cool in the net with that. And then this thing opens up. The shark fin is actually through a hole in there. It's a little hard to see, but it comes through. So the 2 things unfold and you get the CD, you get the cassette. The CD, though, is still the censored album cover, but the cassette is the uncensored one, like if I get my finger in the right place. There you go, like the record hanging on the wall over there, which is autographed, and why I have it out there. I'm a huge fan of Great White. I love this. It's my favorite album. It's probably because it was the first one that came out while I was a fan of them. I did grow up with Once Bitten and Twice Shy, but I did not own them. And so this was the first one that was dropping that I went out and bought on my own. And to get this cool promo thing here, I got to give a shout out and a thanks to Anthony from Sound Exchange, the store owner, who texted me and said, hey, are you interested in this? He knows I'm a big glam metal fan. So he was just like, you got to have it. This is definitely something that is right up your alley. And thankfully he did, because I took it and I'm in love with this thing. So there you go. 10 CDs, 4 box sets, tons of music. Absolutely enjoying all this stuff from the past week. And, you know, check back next week. Every Wednesday I do new episodes of all my new music finds. I'm always enthralled by the amount of stuff I can find and dig up, you know, with a collection of over 12,000 CDs, 350 box sets. Somehow I'm still able to add 4 box sets and 10 new CDs to my collection here. So who knows how I do it? I don't know, but it just goes to show you how much great stuff is hidden out there in the world for us still to find, us music fans. Okay, everyone, happy hunting out there. Take care, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.